How Elliott found out that the kids he brought up were not his biologically. Autumn born November 1967. Autumn had to be the first kid for Elliott to research with what his brother Jack had told him. What Elliott did was to find out when Paramour was pregnant with Autumn and the year she had Autumn, which was November 1967. So when Paramour got conceived was around middle of February, when Sebastian was back home from Australia. He wanted to borrow Elliott's car so he could try and get back with Marilyn. He would be waiting in Elliott's house when Elliott got home from work. How long Sebastian had been in Elliott's must have been quite a while, for Paramour would have been phoning Marilyn at work to try and see if she would go back with Sebastian. And he used Elliott's car for at least a fortnight. Then he stopped going up to Marilyn's when he saw a guy picking her up. But Sebastian and his mum had a greengrocer's on the main road. Elliott could see the shop from his window, and Sebastian would take her vegetables and fruit when Elliott was at work. Elliott never thought that his best friend would have gone with his wife, but having lots of photos, Sebastian and Autumn, piecing them together does show that Sebastian is the biological dad of Autumn. Harvest, born August 1971, Elliott linked him up with her best friend's husband Richard when he had come out to the Marines. He had been stationed in Japan and now living back in Bolton, and what he had been doing was calling at Elliott's house. But somehow he had got to know that Elliott called home around 11 in the morning whilst on his round. And what he did was wait on the corner of the street until Elliott carried on with his round. Then he would go to the house. But he was seen by Elliott's friend Jim, who would be passing his house every day. That is when Paramour told Elliott that Richard had been calling. Elliott said, "How long has he been calling?" She said, "For quite a few weeks." Elliott worked it out that Paramour got pregnant when he was calling round. That would have been the beginning of November 1970. Elliott managed to get photos of Richard, and yes, Richard is the biological dad of Harvest. And these are the two kids Paramour wanted to get rid of. Summer, born August 1966. Summer was harder to bring anyone in at first, for he never thought Paramour would go with Buster. She hated his wife, and his wife hated Paramour. Maybe that was another challenge for Paramour. The only link to Buster was that he delivered first stools that Elliott had made for some workmates, Paramour. But Buster did take Paramour with him, but the time was right for Paramour to have conceived with Summer was when Buster helped to deliver the stools, being November. Elliott asked Buster one day that he would like a photo taken with him. This was 2023, but Buster refused. Buster got dementia 2024 and died, and his wife gave Elliott a photo that had been taken recently. The photo helped him being Summer's biological dad. Not long after Buster's wife gave Elliott a photo, one of Buster's friends gave Elliott a photo of Buster when he was around 19, and bingo, yes, that makes him a defo for him to be Summer's biological dad. Winter born, December 1969. He was the one hardest to solve. Nothing at all to link him up with anyone. Going over winter, over and over and over again. Paramour was conceived early March 1969. Nothing at all jumped out until one day, whilst looking at the kids' photos, he noticed that Augustus was looking at winter when he should have been looking at Harvest. For Harvest was messing around in a shop with a hand puppy. So Elliott started to go by when Elliott knew he fancied Paramour. Why did Augustus want Paramour to go to Australia? And why did Paramour want to go? When she first met Augustus, she told Elliott she did not like him. Elliott would not go and stay with anyone he did not like, especially for 3 weeks. So Elliott started to photo fit in Winter and Augustus. And bingo, yes, Elliott was on the right track, and recently he managed to get more photos re Facebook, and wow, yes, it ties up that Augustus is Winter's biological dad. Elliott also looked back when Augustus went to Elliott's house on his wedding day, asking Elliott was he going on honeymoon, and Elliott told him, I will take her to Blackpool. Augustus went away and came back an hour later saying he had booked a room in Blackpool. Now, why did he do that? Augustus can't remember him coming on his stag do. If he did, he soon vanished, for everyone met up in the commercial hotel, and the next pub was the Lower Nag's Head, where Elliott had a photo taken with all his mates. But Augustus was not on it. Augustus used to come over from Australia frequently to visit his mum and dad. That's when he was calling at Elliott's house when he was working. Elliott Goold, finding out the medication he was on made him fertile. With what Elliott had found, re the 4 children he had brought up for 23 years, and knew the children were not his biologically, so he wondered how he could get to the truth. So he asked the children, now with families of their own, would they have a DNA test? They all declined, even offering one of them £500. This is another reason why Elliott Goold wants to find out if he is correct on his findings. So Elliott dug deeper into his research that he came across an article about the tablet, the thalidomide, which caused birth defects on women, and started to think that he did have a semen test when he lived in Betsy Coed. For the girl he was living with was always on to Elliott that the children he brought up were not his, for none of them looked like him. Though the doctor in Betsy Coed told him that he was positive, he had not seen the report, so he phoned the doctor's reception and they dug the medical records out, showing Elliott that he was positive. But there was a couple of discrepancies, like he did the test at home, but he had done it at the hospital. Anyway, Elliott rung the hospital, but because he was done in 1990s, there was nothing they could do to check anything. Read the thalidomide tablet. Elliott thought, I was on a tablet when I was 16. So Elliott phoned his doctor's reception to see if they could find medical reports in 1960 onwards. Elliott taking a tablet, and bingo, they did have some records showing that Elliott was on a tablet called tetracycline, which Elliott had been taking for 14 years. And when you stop taking the tetracycline, you start beginning normality again. But it does take quite a few months. So then Elliott started Googling tetracycline, and yes, it came up that taking the tablet makes males infertile. So Elliott went to his doctors with a medical report, and she said, I know all about the side effects on tetracycline. Elliott said, it's not the side effects, it's what it does to you. It makes a male infertile. So she Googled the tablet, and bingo, she said, yes, you are right. Anyway, Elliott went to some chemist shops, and again, they agreed with him that tetracycline makes males infertile. The amount of research on Google is unbelievable. So Elliott had the proof he needed for him to take the case to court, for him to get the children to have DNA tests. Elliott also wrote to MHRA, Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulator Agency, but they won't tell you anything. They just want to keep it quiet. Elliott Goold going to court. Elliott Goold filled in a form, retaking the 4 children he had brought up to court for DNA testing. This was in March 2025. Elliott paid £402. The judge had previously had a meeting with a legal advisor, and the first hearing was to be with the applicant only. That showed Elliott that it was going to be an open and shut case. The case was brought to court during April 2025. Elliott took his wife Christmas with him, and on arriving at the courts in Manchester, Elliott and his wife were searched. Then they went and booked in. When Elliott and his wife were ushered into the courtroom, the judge was sitting in his chair. First words that came from his mouth was, "Can you hear me?" Elliott said yes. Judge, you have come for a declaration of non-parentage. Elliott, yes. Judge, how do you know they are not your children? Elliott reached down for his bag. Judge, don't bother bringing anything out of your bag. Just answer my questions. Elliott told the judge about his researching and photo fitting. Judge, your researching means nothing. Elliott, My evidence is in my bag. Judge, photos don't mean a thing. They can be anybody. Elliott, I have linked people being their biological fathers. Judge, did you have sexual intercourse with your ex-wife? Elliott, yes. Judge, then they are your children. Judge, I am not awarding you for your children to have DNA test. Elliott, what happens if my grandson has a DNA test? Judge, you don't want to upset the family, do you? Elliott, I don't think the judge should have said that the children were his when Elliott had come to court to find out if the children were his.